A lot of the youth today are addicted to what we call pornography or masturbation. So, today we want to discuss five simple steps or five effective steps to stop pornography or masturbation. First step, prevention is better than cure. This is a principle that when an individual builds himself upon will help him or her prevent himself from falling into this particular sin because it's an addiction that when you fall into it becomes difficult for you to stay away from it. And this particular principle is very effective in preventing yourself from occurring into this particular grievous sin. Prevention is better than cure. And the religion of Islam has built the whole religion upon this particular principle, and Islam has nurtured its people or nurtured Muslims based on this particular principle, which is what prevention is better than cure. The brothers and sisters in Islam, Sheikh Salih Usaymin rahimahullah said, قاعدة الشرع في المنهيات الأمر بالمباعدة والنهي عن المواقعة. That the principle of Islam in the prohibited actions are what? الأمر بالمباعدة. The command to stay away from that particular sin, or the command not to get closer to that particular action. وَالنَّهْيُ عَنِ الْمُوَاقَعَةِ, and what's the prohibition of falling into that particular sin. So Islam will pick zina and tell you that it is haram to commit zina, and then at the same time it will pick this particular same sin and tell you that don't get closer to it. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling I and you that وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا zina, and do not get closer to zina, which is what the principle of what prevention is better than cure. So if you know that this particular thing is what leads you to committing this particular grievous sin, then what do? You make sure that you don't get closer to that particular thing, or you prevent the occurrence of that particular thing. So, if anything that you know that this particular thing will lead you to that particular thing, anything that will lead you to that, you make sure that you stay away from it. That is the first principle. And the second principle is what? Dua. Dua is what can do anything for you in this particular earth, in this world. So anything that you know that you cannot do, dua can do it. Anything that you think you can't do, dua can do it. So that is why the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned in a particular hadith, though the authenticity of this particular hadith is questioned. And that hadith is what? لا يغني حذر من قدر والدعاء ينفع مما نزل ومما لم ينزل. لا يغني حذر من قدر. What does that mean? Precautions that we take, it can never protect you, or it can never do away of what? It can never do away with the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But listen to the hadith, وَالدُّعَاءُ يَنْفَعُ مِمَّا نَزَلَ وَمِمَّا لَمْ يَنزِلْ. But dua helps in whatever has already descended upon you and whatever is yet to. That means anything that has not yet descended upon you and is yet to descend upon you, dua is helpful in that particular time. So, if you know that you have taken more precautions day in, day out, and still you are still falling into this particular sin, then what are you supposed to do? You make sure that you never leave dua. Never leave dua, because dua will protect you from whatever all the precautions you did never protect you from. So وَالدُّعَاءُ يَنْفَعُ مِمَّا نَزَلَ وَمِمَّا لَمْ يَنزِلْ. So this is the second principle. The third principle is the principle of what? Ziyadatul iman wa nuqsani. What does that mean? Iman increases and decreases. When the iman of an individual increases, what increases the iman of that particular individual? And what decreases the iman of an individual is very simple. Ibn Abi Dawud rahimahullah, he mentioned in his Ha'iyah that وَقُلْ إِنَّمَا الْإِيمَانُ قَوْلٌ وَنِيَّةٌ وَفِعْلٌ عَلَى قَوْلِ النَّبِيِّ الْمُصَرَّحُ وَيَنْقُصُ طَوْرًا بِالْمَعَاصِي وَتَارَةً بِطَاعَتِهِ يَنْمَى وَفِي الْوَزْنِ يَرْجِحُ. So he said that وَقُلْ إِنَّمَا الْإِيمَانُ قَوْلٌ وَنِيَّةٌ. Say that iman or faith is what? Is statements and then intentions, وَفِعْل, and what? Actions. على قول النبي المصرح, upon the mouth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said that wayanqusu tawran, it increases. The iman, that's what it increases. It increases. Wayanqusu tawran bil ma'asi. Wayanqusu means it decreases rather. So wayanqusu tawran, and the iman decreases bil ma'asi, with more what? With more bad deeds. So when an individual involves or engages in sinning against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your iman decreases. But if you engage in good deeds, if you engage in what? Action that will lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will hurt, your iman will increase. So if you base yourself upon this particular principle, which is the principle of what? Increase in iman and decrease in iman. What or when does your iman increase? Your iman increase when you do more good deeds, and your iman increases when you decrease bad deeds or you stop doing bad deeds. So when an individual wants to stop this particular sin, then build yourself upon this particular principle. Because if you increase your good deeds, then you may know that it will definitely increases the way you distance yourself from this particular evil deed. So specifically, there are some deeds that will help you, and you know that particular deeds. These are deeds that if you do away with them, they will help you from staying away from this particular sins. Those deeds, identify them and do what? And stay away from them. And you know there are some good deeds that will lead you to this particular deed. So if that will lead you to protecting yourself from this particular deed. So make sure that you stick to those good deeds, and definitely you will be successful in protecting yourself from this particular deed. So, Islam has prohibited zina. Islam has prohibited something like watching or looking at women unnecessarily. And Islam has prohibited a lot of things, listening to music and co. And all these things are things that increases your libido and increases your sexual edge and increases your edge to do or commit that particular grievous sin. So make sure that you distance yourself from women. Make sure that you distance yourself from music to the best of your ability. Make sure that you distance yourself from what? From anything that you know will increase your libido, and which will what? Send you or get you closer to this particular deed. And this is what the third principle. The fourth principle is what? Being in people. And this is very simple. Always try to be with people, and it will help you a lot. This is a very effective way. It will help you a lot. Which is to say, whenever you find yourself in seclusion, try always to get closer to what? To people, or try always to get people around you. The Arab call this particular deed, which is masturbation, the Arab call it al-adat al-sirriya. Why do they call it that name? They call it al-adat al-sirriya because mostly people do it what? In circulation, when they are alone. So now, if you do away with that particular thing, which is being alone, then definitely you are going to do a great deal in harm or in preventing yourself from occurring or from falling into this particular deed. And then the last principle is what? To be patient. Patience will lead you good results in the end of the day. Be patient in trying to fulfill your sexual urge. When you have that particular sexual urge, make sure that you are patient. Make sure that you try to be patient. Even if it's difficult for you, but try to be patient and remember the reward of being patient, and remember the negativity or the negative implications of not being patient. And one effective way that helps an individual to be patient is what Quran has taught us in Surah Al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the story of Musa and Musa and Khidr, that when Musa went to Khidr and Khidr told him that you can't be patient with me, what did he say? فَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرَ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. How are you going to be patient, or how can you be patient upon what you don't know about or what you don't have any knowledge about? So which means the fact that you have knowledge about something will increase your patience towards that particular thing, and the fact that you have less knowledge about something will decrease your patience towards that particular thing. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say here is that firstly, learn about that particular sin you are doing. Know the rulings of that particular sin in Islam, and know the rulings of that particular sin in what in Islam, in the world and in the hereafter. And the secondly, know the negative implications of that particular sin in this world and in the hereafter. And and know that there is no way that a sin will be there without negative complications or negative implications. Remember, there is nothing on the face of the on this earth except it's under one of these three categories. It's either only good or only bad or a mixture of good and bad. So now, anything that is only good, we know that what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do it. Anything that is only bad, what are we supposed to do? We abstain from it. But there are certain deeds that are both good and bad, which means they have both good implications and bad implications. So now, this particular deed we are talking about, possibly or definitely, someone will say it has good implications. You are going to fulfill your sexual urge. You are going to have this, and the person will list the good deeds. But remember, Islam builds its principle or builds its rulings upon what? Upon preventing the greater harm. So if there's good deeds, if there's good implication in a particular act, and there's negative implication in that same act, Islam will make sure that it weigh that particular good implications and the bad implications. So if the good implications overweighs the negative implications, then at that particular time, Islam will encourage you to do that particular thing. But if the good implications if the negative implications outweighs the good results, then Islam will prohibit you from that. And know that masturbation and pornography has a lot of negative implication consequences that comes with it. So remember this particular principle. Make sure that you know the negative consequences of pornography and masturbation, and then it will help you. It will do a great deal in helping you in what? Preventing this particular evil deed. So to conclude with, there is one negative implication or consequence that I want to mention here, and that is the more you fall into this particular deed, the greater the effects on you in your marriage. So when someone does this particular thing, mostly it affects the marriage no matter what you do, it will affect your marriage. And this is something the scholars has confirmed. The scholars of Islam has confirmed it, and the scholars people that has experimented and did a lot of research on this um, has confirmed it. There are a lot of researches on this particular issue online. You can go and see them, which will be very beneficial for you in doing away with this particular deed. So we end here by saying that last, lastly, be truthful to yourself. Be truthful to yourself. Be truthful to yourself, which is to say, make sure that you have the pure intention that you are going to do away, or you want to really stop this particular thing, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you do away with it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.